सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवं। नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारोपितवामभागं पाणौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् अतुलितबलधामं हेमशैलाभदेहं दनुजवनकृशानुं ज्ञानिनामग्रगण्यं सकलगुणनिधानं वानराणामधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि। Hari Om to all. Today the session is in English, and today's topic is, so to say, a hot topic. Many people wanted a session on this. Today's topic is spirituality in professional life. Now this is a topic where I am sure many of you will have some questions also, so please feel free to post your questions in the comments. Towards the end of the session, I will try to answer all of them. So when we say word spirituality, what comes to our mind? Many times spirituality is considered as some action. If I am going to temple, then I am spiritual. If I am studying Bhagavad Gita or something like this, then I am spiritual. If I am going for some sessions, some talks of some Swamiji, etc., then I am spiritual. So all these kind of things are there, and maybe because of that or maybe because of any other reason, the younger crowd, the young professionals, so to say, are little bit away from that life, and they say that, oh, this is not the time to do all that. Many times it is said, spirituality is something that we should do after retirement. That was the general idea also. That is the general idea, I think, even now. Suppose you tell somebody that I am attending some classes on Bhagavad Gita, they will immediately ask you question, why, what happened? Which means what? There is a belief that something bad should happen for a person to turn to spirituality. The general view need not be correct view, but that view exists. I remember when I just entered into my professional life, so to say, after engineering, when I entered into TCS, I got a job there, and initially there was some training program, and in the introduction of that training program, we were supposed to give introduction of each other. So pairs were made, and I was supposed to give introduction of somebody, and that person will give introduction of me. So in my introduction, that person told that he likes studying Bhagavad Gita, and there was a person in the group who was my college mate. I knew him for 4 years, but we never discussed about all these things. So he suddenly asked this question, Why now? You are 19, 20-year-old, 21-year-old. Why you want to study Bhagavad Gita now? Why? And I don't know how, but by God's grace, one answer came to me at that time, in which I gave. And later on, I reflected on that answer and I found that it is so true. I said that Bhagavad Gita was taught to Sri Krishna, taught by Sri Krishna to Arjuna, and not to Bhishmacharya or Dronacharya or Kripacharya or Kunti, Dhritarashtra, who have completed their life, not to them. It was taught to Arjuna, who was in the prime of his youthhood. Spirituality, when we study, we realize that this is something that I must know before I start living my life actually. See, when we are in school and college, etc., most of our decisions are taken by our parents. And many of our crises is also taken by them. Suppose we have any problem, we immediately go to them. But when we specially enter into professional life, where we have to take decision of our own life, whether it is personal or professional, at that time spirituality is very, very important. So first thing that we must understand is spirituality is not something to be done after retirement. Because after retirement, really what you can do is to feel bad that why I didn't start this before. Anyone who is practicing spirituality now after retirement will feel that, oh, I should have known this before. And then what they do is they start telling their children, oh, you start now, we got late, but you don't. But those children don't have value for it at that moment. So they live the same life. Then the parents get frustrated, what is this? We got late, but they are getting chance. Why are they not doing? Then they come to us and they say, oh, Veji, you tell, only if you tell it. All these things said and done. Point is what? In my life, I should start spirituality whenever I know what is spirituality. I don't have to wait for my professional life to get over, for me to get retirement and my family life is over, my children are not required. I don't have to wait till that time. So let us go and find out what exactly is this spirituality. In Sanskrit, word for spirituality is Adhyatma Shastra. Shastra means science. Adhyatma means Adhi Atma. Adhi means pertaining to. Adhi is a upasarga, is a prefix, which means pertaining to. Atma means oneself. So that science which pertains to myself is called as Adhyatma Shastra, spirituality. So it is very clear that whenever I am saying that spirituality in this, spirituality in that, what it means is whether I am thinking about myself. Now, it doesn't mean selfish thinking. Many times people think that spirituality is selfish. No, it is actually exact opposite of selfish. What it means is that I can say I am practicing spirituality when I decide to change myself and not the world. In simple terms, in layman's terms. Pujya Gurudev used to always emphasize on this point, that you can't change the world. You have to change yourself. That is the only thing which is in your hand. You change and the world will change. This was his slogan. So the moment I realize, the moment my intellectual, mental, spiritual maturity comes, when I understand that the problem is not in the world, but the problem is within, and I try to find the solution within, that moment onwards we are practicing spirituality. We might be doing so many religious activities before that, we might be attending so many classes, we might be studying so many things, but unless this mental shift or intellectual shift happens of trying to find the solution within because the problem is within, we don't start our spiritual life. Only when this kind of attitude, this kind of thinking comes, we really start our spiritual life, our spiritual journey. So, when we have not yet started spiritual life, our usual method is to find the problem outside. Why am I suffering? Why am I sad? Because this is like this. What is this lockdown? 15 days now, another 7 days are there. How will we live? And how will the government do this? And how? So many complaints. When we are eating food also, what is this, why you have made this, we try to think, we think that the real reason for my sorrow is somewhere outside. But on little closer analysis, we realize that the problem is not outside, the problem is within. The situation remaining the same, if I do little adjustment inside, I will be able to turn the same situation into a happy situation. Very simple example. When you look in the mirror, suppose you see that there is some kind of black spot on my left cheek. Suppose. Now when you see that spot, do you clean the mirror or do you clean your face? Only a fool will keep cleaning the mirror thinking that the black spot on my cheek will go by cleaning the mirror. See, mirror is only for us to find out what is a flaw in me and correct here, not there. Similarly, the world needs no correction. World is correct, perfect as it is. We don't have to do anything in there. What we need to do is change something within. Even small correction, which will go long way in our happy life. So, the moment I turn my attention within, saying that this is where I need to work, that is called as spirituality. Now, because this is an attitude, it is not an action, and therefore there is no particular time to practice spirituality. You don't have to say that, oh, morning 1 hour I am spiritual, rest of the day it is not like that. Spirituality is mental attitude, it's a vision. So that vision can work in and through everything in our life, whether it is my personal life, whether it is my professional life, social life, whatever it is. In all these phases, my spirituality can be practiced. So spirituality in professional life, when we say, first thing we need to understand is, it is possible to practice spirituality in professional life because it is an attitude. And the moment that attitude shifts from outside to inside, I have started practicing spirituality. Right? That is first thing. Second thing that immediately follows in spirituality is, the problems are not seen as problems. What I am telling you, see, this word problem, for every situation has come actually from Western philosophy. You will always see Western philosophers, etc., they discuss problems. What is your problem statement? So even if you are doing a PhD thesis or anything, they will ask you a question, what is the problem statement? Means what? For them, everything is a problem and they need to find solution. In spirituality, we need to shift attention a little bit and say, it is a situation. It's not a problem. For example, now whatever is happening is not a problem, it's a situation. The moment you turn it from problem to situation, the power behind that problem goes away and you get strength to deal with that situation. As long as it remains a problem, you feel that, oh, I have to now do something, I have to find some solution. The moment it becomes situation, you have to just deal with it. So, in spirituality, when first thing I have done is what? That I have shifted my attention from outside to inside. Which means what? Everything is learning for me. Whether I am at home, whether I am in office, whether I am boss or whether I am subordinate, whether I am junior, whether I am senior, everything is learning. Every moment, every experience is learning from me. The moment my attention is towards what I have learned in my life, my spiritual life has started. My problems, so-called, will start reducing the moment I change this attitude. This transformation has to happen. And then whatever happens outside is not a problem, is just a situation. And I need to deal with it. Not a big deal. Okay, fine, I'll deal with it. So these two changes, when they have happened, turning from outside to inside and seeing problems not as problems but as situations, my life becomes easy. Now, we will go into some of the questions that people often ask when it comes to how to practice spirituality in professional life. More questions as we go along will come and we will keep answering them. First question, what should be my attitude while working? In my professional life, what should be my attitude? Now you see, there are different kinds of people in the world. We are not going to go too much detail, but roughly what we have seen, and probably we also will fall in one of those categories. Some people are money minded. They only see money, profit. What do I get from it? What do I get from it? What do I get from it? Some people are like that. Some people care so much about what other people think about them. They don't mind spending money, but their entire effort goes in trying to beautify their outer personality, or what you call as how do they look in the society, what people think about me. So others' opinion of them matters to them more than money. So such people try to have a good image, at least try to show that they are good. So money minded people are there. These second type of people are there. Some third kind of people are, they are enjoyment oriented. They are only looking for enjoyment. Food, oh. So what is work? Work is the gap between two meals, breakfast and lunch. In between I have to do something, that is called focus is what? Food. Go and eat. So breakfast time only they will ask, what is there for lunch? Lunch is not yet over. Half of it is still in plate. They will ask question, what is there for dinner? Then they will start planning. Oh, now, after this lockdown is over, I am going to go here and eat this. Then I am going to go there and eat that. And at that we will see when it comes. No. For them it matters a lot. For some people, objects matter a lot. Devices, electronic devices, phone, latest phone. They will know everything about everything. Latest car, latest TV, latest laptop. Very much fascinated, and if they don't know something has come and they feel very bad, what is this? I know everything. Some people, they look forward to be with family and friends. They don't like working at all. They go to office because there is no option. You have to go there for what to do, Swamiji, we have to go. But they are looking forward for vacation. Most of us working professionals now work Monday to Friday only for that Saturday, Sunday. And that's why you will see so many memes, etc. will come on social media. Friday night, they will start enjoying. And today is Monday, so many memes will be there. Why God created Monday, etc., etc. All these different kinds of people are there. Now, what is a spiritual attitude? You see, you be spiritual minded in work, not money minded, or not focused on what people think about you, not focused on the enjoyment. But what do you focus on? You focus on your development. All of us are born as human beings. Why? There must be some reason. Have we tried to think about what is the purpose of this human life? Are we just to be born, study, work, earn money, get married, have children, die? Is it the purpose of life? Remember, all these things animals also do, probably better than us. Just getting married and creating children, they do much better than us. 12 children dog has at a time. Are we supposed to do that? Or is there some different purpose of my life? If there is a different purpose of my life, then should I not practice that in and through my life? When my attitude becomes this, that I want to find out what exactly is purpose of my life, I am more interested in inner development rather than outer development. Pujya Gurudev used to call it as standard of living and standard of life. If you see Foundation Vedanta course offered by SIF, etc., all these things are beautifully explained. Today we are in such a world or such an era where standard of living has gone up. Standard of living means what? The amenities that we have, the comfort that we have, the objects, things that we have been what do you call as overdone. We have absolutely comfortable house, car, everything is there, but standard of life is going low. Standard of living, standard of life. Standard of life means what? My value system. Come what may, I will not lie. Come what may, I will not cheat. My discipline in my own life. I will get up at this time means 6 o'clock means I will get up at 6 o'clock. Whether it is Saturday or Sunday or Monday, it doesn't matter. That kind of disciplined life we are not living. So though the standard of living, the comforts around have gone up, the standard of life has gone down. And because of that, amidst all the so-called comforts, we are still sad. Ideally, it should be that if you are more wealthy, if you are having more money, you should be happier. But it doesn't happen. Why? Because only standard of living is not what is required. Standard of life also needs to be raised. So in my professional life, if my attitude is to improve the standard of life and not just standard of living, my entire work life will become absolutely easy. I understand that money is essential. Nobody is denying it. Money has a value. There is absolutely no doubt about it. To live, we need money, but how much value money has, that much value only we should give it. What we do is, we give more value to money, and trying to pursue that, we leave so many other things which are essentials. We sometimes, ignore our family, friends, just to get that money. We have seen so many movies also on this, isn't it? Movies are nothing but our own life shown in a big screen. We have seen so many times that people who want that ambition is there, I want to become millionaire, I want to become billionaire, they do this, that, they cheat, they plunder, then they shout at their family and they leave everybody and they go on top. And what happens on top? They are alone. Then at that time they say, oh, now I want to go back to my life. Somebody who has already gone through this and seen, we as intelligent people should not walk by the same road and go there and conclude the same thing. No, be intelligent and see. This is where it is going to end. Be intelligent now. Again, I am telling that money has value. Nobody is denying it. Money is required. Nobody is saying no. But give value to it, how much it is required. Even if I work in whatever profession I am, with the attitude that I am focused on my inner development, remember, money will come. Money will become side benefit. My main benefit is to evolve from within. If this is a kind of attitude that you have, most of your problems, so-called, in your professional life will not be there. Oh, I didn't get the raise, he only got the raise, I am not going to work only from now, and there are too many politics. All these questions we will see, but the point is what? My focus is on inner development. And even if I have to give up something outside to have that inner development inside, I should be able to do it. I should be ready to do it. There are so many ideal people that we see, no? It may be industrialists, they may be politicians, so many are there. What we see different in them is they have this unbelievable ability of sacrificing lower for getting something higher. My peace of mind, my inner development is more important than anything that I get outside. If this idea is clear, we won't hesitate even a bit to sacrifice something which is lower. If there is a situation where I have to cheat my country or leave the job, if my ideals are clear, if my value system is clear, I will not even think about this choice. I will leave the job. Second thought is also not required. Why? Because cheating is something which is impossible. I cannot do it. I cannot stoop down to that. If that kind of value system we build for ourselves, then we will create such people who will be really pillars of our society. See, what we lack in today's world is not wealth, is not economic, what do you call as economic heist or anything like that. What we need is character. People with character is what we need. And you see, this, everyone knows this. See, this, whenever your interview, etc., happens for any profession, any job, etc., you think, if you are hiring, what do you want in that new person who is joining? Is not integrity one of the most important character that you want in that person? That person may not be professionally or technically that sound. Okay, we will teach. What is there? In all companies today, there are technical training sessions are there. Wherever you have to join, you have to go through technical training session. You can teach that, but the inner strength, the integrity, the truthfulness, loyalty, these are the things that you cannot teach, and therefore you look for such things into every employee. Even thieves, when they want to, add one more member to their gang, they make sure that he is loyal. See, thief, okay? But he also should be loyal to all other people. He should not be a cheat. If a thief is a cheat towards their own gang, they don't want it. So even in a bad industry, so to say, they look for such good things. So our focus should be building on this inner value system, inner core. That is what is required. In professional life, if this is my attitude, that I am working for two reasons. See, one is that building inner integrity, or you say evolving from within. Second thing, you can have the attitude, and that is to have feeling that I am serving the society. What I am actually doing is serving, and what I get out of it is just a side benefit. I am not working for money. I am working to serve. Money that I get is just a side benefit. Very interesting. You see, in our, I remember when we were in school, etc., in the form we had to write your father. What is your profession of your father? And most of us used to write it as service. And we used to say also, what is your father doing? Service. My father is doing service. You see how it is so inbuilt in Indian culture. Anything that I do is a service. I may be a software engineer, I may be a doctor, I may be a lawyer, I may be a worker in an industry. That I am doing as a social service. I am doing for the society. Money that I get, the check payment, etc., whatever I get, salary I get, is only byproduct. What I am working for is to serve. And when my attitude of service is there, I evolve from within. You see? So attitude of service in my professional life will build my inner personality. That should be our attitude when we are working in professional life. First thing. Now, when that attitude is there, many of the problems that we are going to see now will not remain problems. Some of the questions that people often ask, how to stay calm at workplace. Sometimes we get very irritated. Now, I am going to give answer from two standpoints. One is from core spiritual standpoint, I am going to give some answer, and another is from day-to-day work standpoint. Okay, how to remain calm? Number one, why do you get angry? The cause of anger is expectation. Suppose, example, I have given some job to my subordinate, my junior. I expect that person to do the job, and therefore when that expectation is not fulfilled, I get angry. Now, please reflect. Did you get angry because that person did not finish the job, or did you get angry because you expected? The answer is very simple. You got angry because you expected. Again, the problem lies within. Solution should be found within. This is called spirituality. The reason behind the anger only you are challenging, then what is the way, how can you be angry? How to handle pressure of deadline. Again, first session also I had given some guidance on this. Puja Gurudev's quote is there, do your best and leave the rest. While working, we do what is best that I can do and leave the rest. Other things are not in my hand. You see, we all of us are working in a team. In professional life also, we work in a team. So there is a limit to which the output is under our control. There is a limit. The whole output is not under our control because everything is not dependent on my work. Everybody has to do their own work, then only the output will be there. But what I can do is I can focus on what is my work. If I am the team lead, then I should know how to get the work done from my team members. If I am a team member, then I should do my job properly, in proper time. Many people say, oh, we are so busy, we have to work. When I was working, my elder cousin had told me one very interesting thing. He said, I was in Pune, so, Hinjawadi, etc., that IT area was very close and most of us were working there. And so many other people who were around us were all working there. And there was no time. Software engineers means what? They will come at any time, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock at night, they will continue to work. So when I used to see all these things, my elder cousin brother was also there. He told me one very interesting thing. He said, you see, I will tell you something. Only those people have to work this much time who are not efficient. I clearly remember his words. He said, if you are efficient enough to finish your job, you will be able to leave office at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever is your time. I understand. I am not generalizing this that everybody who works more is not efficient. I am not saying that. But when I looked in my own life, I found most of the times it is true. When I have wasted my time at office, then only I will have to sit for more time. And really people in the office also want output. They don't really mind how much time you are working. So have this kind of clarity. Then the pressure won't be there. Anger won't be there, pressure also won't be there, tension won't be there. Also, when we come home, please leave that pressure and tension of work at work. Don't bring it at home. Your family members need you as a family member, not as a boss or as a person, as an employee. Try to leave that all, then your balance of professional and family life also will be there. That is another question which is often asked. How do I do that? Give importance to everything that is due. Means what? Professional life, my work needs this much time, I give. But when I am not at work, when I am at home, I leave all that aside. I am with my family, means I am with my family. When I am in office, I am in office. I am not with my family. If this kind of clarity comes, somebody has asked question, simplicity, importance of simplicity. A huge importance of simplicity is there in spiritual life. You see, actually speaking, life is very simple. We make it complicated. You really look into your own life, life is very simple. In one of the movies, the dialogue is there, just breathe. That much simple is life. We only complicate the matters. Now if I do like this, then in 2 years I will have to be like this. Then in 5 years I will get this job. And what if I don't? We will see when it comes. Now what is important for me, I will do that. When I am at work, I am at work. Job in front of me is my job. I will do it. When I am at home, I am at home. That job is gone now, that is there. Tomorrow morning we will see. When I go there, I will see whatever is required. Till then, I will spend time with my family. This is another thing that we have to remember. Now, if I have to do so much in my professional life that I should not be angry, I should not take tension, I should change my attitude, please understand that all these things will happen only when we have inner strength of transformation, only if we are able to change ourselves. And that inner strength will come from your sadhana, from your spiritual practice. Yesterday also, whoever understands Marathi, we had taken session on it. What do you mean by spiritual practice? Some time of the day you have to spend for yourself. You can spend that time doing japa or in meditation or reading something. Whatever you want, you can spend time, but that time is required, absolutely essential. Just as you have duty towards your profession or your company, just as you have duty towards your family, just as you have duty towards society and country, you have duty towards yourself also. We must spend some time in building this, in bringing out this inner transformation. It is absolutely essential. I have seen this happening in my father's life so much. He was my ideal. He was my idol because, see, when I was in school, when he used to be at home on Sunday, etc., that time Saturday, Sunday was not holiday. For him, only Sunday was holiday. And that too, his job was touring job. So he used to go to many places. So whenever he is in town, he is at home on Sunday afternoon. Generally, what do we say? Oh, last 3 Sundays I was at different places touring, and this Monday to Saturday I am working so much. Sunday afternoon, nicely I will sleep, have lunch and sleep. I have seen so many times my father reading for 3-4 hours Sunday afternoon. I have seen this. I, like a useless fellow, used to sleep, who is not even working. I am just eating what he is bringing for me. He is earning, he is bringing food, he is sweating and toiling, all these things. I am just sitting and eating, but I used to feel, oh, Sunday afternoon is for sleep. But I have seen so many times him reading, and he used to look forward for it. He used to say, today is Sunday, nice, I will get some time. He will get up early, 4 o'clock or something, and will start reading. He will play harmonium. Just nobody is there to see, just he and his harmonium, and he will play. These small incidences in my life taught me a lot. I understood that personal time is absolutely required. In our professional life or family life, personal life, that time for oneself is absolutely required. You cannot compromise on that time. Please spend some time for yourself. Do whatever you like. You like painting, you do painting. You like singing, you sing. You like listening to songs, you listen to songs. That is required. In addition to that, spend some time either in japa or meditation or reading something spiritual or introspecting. Many times this introspection also is often underrated. People don't realize the value of this introspection. Introspection means what? I just go through my whole day and find out which all places I think I made a mistake, or which all places I was sad. Why was I sad? What was the reason? When I do these kind of things, I realize what are the shortcomings in me, and I will also try to find the solution for it. So these are some of the things that we see in our professional life that we need to work on. I think most of the things we have seen. Some questions are there that we will answer first, then we will go to something else. One question from Instagram is there: how to bring discipline in our life? The only way to bring discipline in our life is to be disciplined. There is no other way. You see, very interesting thing. So, most of the times when people put some rules on us, we don't like. When college tells, school used to tell, you have to come at this time, go at this time. We don't like all that. So mother, father, somebody used to tell, do this at this time. We don't like. Now is the time to put discipline for yourself. That is where the strength is required. Every 1st January, every new year, we have list of things that we are going to do in this year. We decide, from today I am going to get up at 6 o'clock. Exercise is must. Some time I should give for my playing, badminton, table tennis, cricket, whatever I want to do. Sometime I am going to do this. So much of planning happens. Not even 1 week we follow that. You see, it is actually insulting yourself. You have decided something and you yourself are not following. And you expect other people to respect you. You yourself are not respecting your own decision. How do you expect other people to respect you? So discipline, if we want to bring, the only way is to be disciplined. And again, as I said, to live a disciplined life needs strength. And that strength will come from spiritual practice. That's why this japa or meditation, reading what you are doing, introspection what you are doing, that all will help in following my discipline. Gurudev used to say, plan out your work and work out your plan. First plan how you want to do and then follow it. All of us know what is an ideal lifestyle, what all things should be there in my life every day. Now when I know it, it is time to act on it. So discipline will come to life when we have strength coming from spiritual practice. Only then I can have that strength to follow the discipline in my life. Come what may, I have decided this means I have decided this. Today I am not going to eat till lunchtime means I am not going to eat. Doesn't matter what is there, what is not there. These are small disciplines you should take up on yourself. Other day I was also telling mauna, remaining silent for some time. 1 hour, 2 hours, how much ever time you can remain silent. Silent means what? Not even using phone. Not that I am silent, therefore I am chatting to my wife. Check the phone. Not like that. I am in mauna means what? This is a time for introspection. This is a time for myself. So I am not going to speak. With mouth, with chatting also. These kind of small vratas that you take, small things that you take will make your life discipline. Another advice, if I may give you on discipline is, don't give too many disciplines at once. Please try to be reasonable towards yourself. Every day I get up at 8 o'clock. I have no time for having breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't do exercise. I go at work at any time. I come back at any time. If this is my lifestyle, don't expect yourself to change suddenly from tomorrow, saying that from tomorrow I am going to get up at 6 o'clock, do exercise. And some people, while making timetable also, they make minute wise. 6 to 6:10. Get ready. 6:10 to 6:27 exercise. This kind of timetable only looks good on paper. It doesn't work. Be reasonable. See what all changes you can bring. Slowly bring one change. If you are getting up late, just put one discipline in your life that I am going to get up early. That's it. Practice it for a month. Then put another discipline that I am going to start exercising. Then put another discipline that I am going to follow some time for mauna. Then put another discipline that I am going to read something or do japa or meditate or introspect. One thing slowly we should put. Not everything at once. From tomorrow I am going to be a perfect person. It doesn't work. We are humans. It doesn't work with us. Right? So these are few things that I think if you do, your discipline will come. Right? Some of the questions on Facebook also we will see and then we will go. The role of simplicity in spirituality, I think I have told. Simplicity has highest value in spirituality. Actually speaking, a spiritual life is a simple life. The moment life is not simple, understand that you are not being spiritual. If you say that, oh, there are too many complexities, so many people saying so many things, that means you are not spiritual. Simplicity is trademark of spirituality. Complexity is brought by us. Actually, life is very simple. Everything is very simple. We only bring that complexity inside it. Right? So, simplicity has a very high value in spirituality. Simplicity also means not being pretentious. How I am, that only I say I am. Not that I am going to pretend that I am very disciplined person and I get up early in the morning. I am not going to pretend anything. How I got up late today. I got up late today. Complexity comes when I am something and I want to project myself as something else. Then the complexity comes. Arjuna, one meaning of word Arjuna is Arjavam. Arjavam means straightforward. Bhagavan Shri Krishna loved that quality of Arjuna, that he was very straightforward. Whatever he thought, he told. He was living what he thought. That is called simple life. Right? So simplicity has high value. Okay, this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know what that is. So if somebody explains me what that is, then I will probably be able to. And that is not a question also, I think. Next, today as a trainer, I teach emotional intelligence. How to teach corporate spiritual quotient without sounding like a spiritual teacher. Physical intelligence and emotional quotient is not enough. Inner wisdom needs SQ, spiritual quotient. What makes them wise leader? How to handle this? That is the same problem that all of us are facing. When we are trying to explain the spirituality, often it is misunderstood, misquoted. But what I have learned when I interacted with some corporates is, people don't have that much aversion towards spirituality anymore. They actually welcome if you are going to talk about spirituality. People are much more intelligent and choosy and picky about all these things nowadays. There was a time when the moment you say spiritual, they will turn their heads away. But now, because of whatever reasons, maybe because they are in too much of depression, or because they are facing so many problems, for whatever reason, people have started understanding the importance of spiritual quotient. So I think it is high time that we start telling them that we are talking about spirituality. Often, when we go to corporates, etc., we little shy away from telling that we are giving tips from Bhagavad Gita, etc. Why? Because people think that Bhagavad Gita is a religious text. No more it is a religious. It was never a religious text. And now people know that it's a spiritual text. Means what? Any person from any religion, any background can follow what Shri Krishna has told Arjuna, because the teaching is for us. So it is high time that we start telling clearly that this is what we are doing. I'll just share one example and then you will understand. When I was in Yuva Kendra, in youth wing of Chinmay Mission, we used to organize camps. And always to attract youngsters, we used to try to find some catchy titles. Exceeding excellence, or proficiency in action, and this and that. We used to find these titles. Once Swamiji just told us, why don't you just write plain the camp on Bhagavad Gita chapter 14. See how many people come. And we found out there were so many people who came. Even when I was in Mumbai in an ashram, even Muslims, etc. used to come, Christians used to come in temple for a camp, something like this. Which means what? People are looking for it. So we should not anymore shy away from saying that, oh, it's not a spirituality, it is something good for you. It is spirituality and it is good for you. It is required for you. Start practicing. So as a trainer or as a leader, I think it is a high time to bring this point in the foreground, saying that this is something that is essential. To be a leader, you have to be spiritually uplifted. Then only you can be a good leader. Leadership from Bhagavad Gita, management from Bhagavad Gita, these are the topics that everybody is looking for today. So if somebody can really work on it and bring it out as a trainer, it will be really good thing. So I think spiritual quotient is of value, and we should put that right in front, saying that this is what we are going to train you in. Right? Next, integrity. Work with integrity, all others will follow. Correct. This is not a question, I think this is more like a comment. One more question from Instagram we will see, then we'll go back. How to avoid distractions? How to avoid distractions? Two ways I am going to tell. One is, when the focus is absolutely clear, distractions will not matter. Means what? What do you give more value to? Example, you are watching some show on TV, and your wife comes, or husband comes, or daughter or son comes and starts talking to you, but you have more interest in that TV show. Then what happens? You completely ignore whatever they are telling. Isn't it clear? Even if somebody comes in between, you go like this to watch. That much time also you don't want to move. This is called as focus. Now this focus you have to bring in your work. Now why this kind of focus doesn't come in the work? That is because we don't love what we do. Often we misunderstand between these two terms, do what you love and love what you do. Today is a generation where they say do what you love. You want to live your life wandering, wanderlust. Go from this place to that place. Do what you love. Whatever you want to choose, choose. That is okay. That is okay when you are in college, when you have nothing to do and you are imagining your life will be like that. That is okay. When you enter into professional life, what you have to do is love what you do. The second half of it. I have no other option. I have to do this work which is in front of me. Now, if I am able to bring love for that work, distractions will not be there. Something that I love, I don't have to I don't need to be told by someone that focus. When we used to watch cricket, were we told that okay, now don't look here and there, focus on the cricket, focus, don't look? No, because we love, the focus happens automatically. Similarly in work life also, when the love is there, the focus will happen automatically, distractions will not be there. Distractions are nothing but our desires manifesting outside. Spiritual answer. Distractions, what do I get distracted from? What I have desire for. If I don't have desire for that thing cannot distract me. Very simple. Example, there is a sale. You are going in the market and there is a sale, but that shop is of sari and you are a man. You have no, what do you call, desire for it, you will not get distracted. But your wife will. You go ahead, there is a sale on technology items, etc., mobiles and phones, etc., then you will get distracted. Why? Because there is a desire for it. So temptations or distractions are nothing but my desires manifesting outside. So the moment I start reducing my desires, these distractions, temptations also will go. Right? Hope I have answered. Next, sometimes when we do our best as we believe, the expectations become more. How to handle team leader, expect more, professional. Okay, how to handle do your best and leave the rest in such situation. Okay, so the question is, I understand the question like this: when I perform my best, expectations from me increase, right? So how to handle? Because now the expectations have increased, therefore everybody will expect me to do like that. See, expectation is another kind of pressure. We have to keep our life simple. Sometimes I remember I love watching cricket and therefore I have learned so many things from cricket. Once MS Dhoni was asked this, that MS Dhoni is known for chasing the target, when the situation is tough, when many wickets are down, run rate is high, and then he will go through. So he was asked once that how do you handle that pressure, because now expectation is there from him. See, from Indian team which we had seen when we were in school, we did not expect India to chase targets. India was not known for that. But after MS Dhoni has come, now there is an expectation that every time MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli are playing, they will bring victory to India. Now that expectation has built. So he used to say, we have to leave this expectation behind. We have to completely get rid of pressure. How many runs are required from how many balls? He used to say that many times I never even look at the scoreboard. Why? Because whatever said and done, I have to face the next ball. It doesn't matter whatever run rate or whether it is low run rate is required or high run rate is required, I have to face next ball. So for me to have that focus on the next ball is more important. The pressure of the scoreboard, pressure of expectation will only bring my efficiency down. Every time Sachin used to go to bat, people used to expect 100 from it. High expectation, very high expectation, therefore very difficult to do. But still he did. We have to learn from this. Please understand, people don't expect that much from us because we are not that great. So if he can do, I can also do. And we are working, as I told you, for our inner development. So the purpose is not to fulfill everybody's expectations. That point, if it is clear, that expectation will not add pressure on me. I think I have answered. Next, getting kids do what is important has become a challenge. How do I handle this? Don't do it. You see, nobody likes to be told what to do. Think, when we were children, did we like all the things that our parents were telling, our elders were telling? We didn't like it and we didn't do it. So everybody takes their own time to learn. Please give that time to children, number one. Number two, children learn by seeing, not by hearing. For all parents, this is a very, very important point. Children learn from what they see, and not what they hear. Which means what? What we tell them is not that important. How we behave is more important. They learn from what they see in you. You are not getting up early in the morning. You are using phone while having lunch, etc., with or lunch or dinner with the family. You are shouting at your wife. Children are going to repeat the same thing. You may tell them you should not shout, you should get up early. They don't learn by ears, they learn by eyes. They see how people are, especially the people that they idolize. For all children, their parents are idols in the beginning, at least. So we have to be good, and not just to show them, but we really have to be good. Then automatically children will tell. We don't have to tell, we don't have to instruct them on anything. Again, I will take you back to cricket's example. Sachin Tendulkar's last match, in the speech that he gave after his the retirement speech, so to say, first thing he mentioned was, I want to thank my father who is no more, but I want to thank him because he taught me many things without teaching me. He was like that. I learnt by looking at him. He never made me sit down and tell me that integrity should be there and tension you should not take. No, I saw him living like that. If you go back on YouTube, etc., you will see this speech where he mentions that I used to see all my family members coming to my father whenever they were in problem. I learned that thing from him, how to remain calm in pressure situation. I learned, which means what? He did not make me sit down and teach. He lived. I learned. As parents, our most important thing is live an ideal life. Children will automatically learn. We don't have to tell children. Children nowadays are very intelligent. We don't have to tell. And one more thing that is important is, please have confidence on your own samskar that you are doing to your children. I always say this. It may appear at some point when they are growing up that they are going, out of track. They are having bad company and therefore they are not doing things. Please have faith in your own samskara. You have done samskaras properly. Even if they go little far, they will come back. Person changes by love, not by rule. You put more and more rules for kids, they won't change. Through love, when those things are taught, they change. So it is my humble request. I understand it is a challenge and I am not at all denying it. Please don't think that you are a brahmachari, you can tell. I understand everything that you are going through. But as I see, the only way is to live the way you want your children to live, and they will pick up. I think I have answered. Working from home has made me very lazy. I am unable to focus on my assignments. How do I get focused? Very, very, very interesting question, because especially nowadays, I was talking about it before also, that when somebody from outside puts some rules, sometimes our life becomes little disciplined because there is a rule. For example, I am living in ashram, therefore 8 o'clock is dinner. Bell will be rung, so therefore I will go and have dinner. Sometimes because of that, my life becomes disciplined. The moment all these things are removed, completely left to me, whatever time I want I can get up, suddenly we find that we have become lazy. It is true. And that's why the need of self-discipline. I spoke about it earlier, how to bring discipline in life, how slowly one thing we need to add. Understand the importance of it. Try to create love for your work life, and all other things will automatically happen. Laziness is there because you love sleep more than work. Simple. The moment you start loving your work more than sleep, you will sacrifice the sleep for work. Try to bring that love in what you are doing. Try to change your attitude. Sometimes, our vision becomes very narrow, and therefore we feel that I am working for this. See the larger picture. Whatever I am doing is actually contributing towards the entire society. The moment this kind of vision comes to us, we create that love for work, and then all these things will not be there. So start step by step. If you are lazy, start to shift half an hour early to get up. Don't suddenly say that 8:30 now I am getting up, from tomorrow I am going to get up at 6 o'clock. Don't suddenly do that. From 8:30 to 8, 8 to 7:30, 7:30 to 7, slowly go back. Give time for everything in a day, not just work, work, work. That is also another point, don't become workaholic. Have life. I was telling other before also that spend some time for yourself, spend some time with family, friends. It is absolutely required. Only when we live this, then only we can say that I have lived a spiritual life, right? Spirituality is not just talking, spirituality is living. A person may be religious but will become spiritual only when all these things are practiced in personal and professional life. I wish you all the best to bring this spirituality in your professional life. Please invoke God's grace and everything will be taken care by God. Okay, we'll conclude. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.